Now everything's disconnected on the engine side. Now we can take the bolts out of the aluminum instrument panel carrier and take the instrument panel carrier and the heater box out as one unit. And that's also how we'll put it back whenever we strap the new chassis wiring harness into it. I'll show you what that looks like out of the car. Okay, so with the junction blocks separated, now we're at a point where we can remove the 13mm bolts on the outside edges that are holding the instrument panel carrier to the unibody, and we'll just be able to pull it out this way. Before we pull this off, I want to show you ignition and battery where that passes through the floor on this side. If you pull the carpet of the floor back, there's a rubber insulating mat. And then this rubber boot here is how battery and ignition passes through. Those are those two nuts that we had to take off from the underside. This boot is all one piece. So with the nuts off of there, I can pull the boot out. This is the underside of the boot. Two long bolts on either side, retaining it in the floor. All right, got those bolts out of there. I had attached the two front nuts for the steering column so we could get at the brake pedal to disconnect the brake booster. So now we can drop this and the carrier should come out. Once I have it down, then I'm going to pull the wiper blade and the other stuff that's coming through the firewall on this side. the hood release and the wires from the harness go through the same rubber boot. You want to separate the inside of the rubber boot from the outside of it. And then the rubber boot can just stay on the wiring harness until we get it out of here, and then we can make sure we put it on the replacement harness. The hood release cable, we disconnected hood release before we got here so that we can just push it through the boot and just leave it here in place. If you get the boot free, the best thing to do to make room for yourself, push hood release into the engine side. It'll be easier then to maneuver the wire and the plugs at the end of the harness through the hole. As we pull this away, we want to make sure that the rubber has separated from any of the bolts sticking out of the brake harness, and that we have fed the wire harness through the floor insulation. Now we just need to pull the harness out of the floor on that side, and we can drag this out of the car. There's a plastic foot. The back side of the heater box was stuck on the rubber wall. Rubber insulation was pulling it very far away unnecessarily. I'm going to try to keep it there, keep all this glue as much as we can in place. Okay, with it rolled down like this, I can see the rubber boot for ignition wires. And I'm going to try to bring it through now. Okay, now the carrier with the heater box still attached and the main wiring harness on it is free of its mounts to the unibody. So now we'll take the harness off of both of them, compare, and then place the donor harness onto this.